Hi there. If you have ever fallen for a man just for him to go cold the moment you got close, this is for you today. Today, we're going to be talking about the father wound, and this is not just for women, by the way, this is also for men. Um, and this is why you keep looking for men in every room you enter. So, we're teaching today on the empty chair you have been scanning rooms for. Today's psychology is going to meet scripture, and we're really going to go into it. So, today you'll finally see that you don't have a bad luck for your choice of men, because sometimes you see that you are. Um, Choosing a specific type of man all the time. You will get some science, you will see the father attachment research and the psychology of approval seeking. You would also see some of it from the word as well, right? And how the Bible also has got us covered, yes? And you would leave with a tool. That's my promise always. But the tool is going to come at the end. So you need to listen through to be able to use the tool because it takes knowledge to understand knowledge. So I'm going to be breaking it down a little bit. I mean, I've got only 1 hour, so it's not like I can talk about everything, but I can give you enough information that you can sit down and understand the what, understand the why, and also understand the how. So I'm really grateful to be here today. Let's get to it, right? All right. So, like I said, today we're going to see, that you don't have bad luck with men. It's just a well documented ache that is still shaping who you chase and who you keep. And it's something that is inside you that you don't know. It's just a software programming that is running. And today we get to understand that programming, eliminate it, and change the programming or replace the programming with higher programming so that the old one becomes obsolete, because that's what I teach a lot the most, isn't it? Today, you will also get some science. Like I said, the father attachment research, you're going to get some of that. Okay? Now, here's the first part. Your father is not still. He's not looking. He's not looking at you as much as you think he is. However, some parts of you is still waiting. In fact, for some of us, our fathers are even long gone, like mine. It'll be probably 7 or 8 years this year since my father lived on earth. He transitioned, I think, about 7 or 8 years ago, right? However, there's a chance that the little girl is still waiting at the door to finally meet him, but that little girl is only trying to finally meet you. And I'll explain it as I go along. As children, we couldn't choose what our parents would do for us or do to us. We couldn't stop them from doing it. We didn't even know that what they were doing was right or wrong as kids. We got our identity and our essence from who? From our parents, from who they said we were, right? Not who they were, but who they said we were. Now imagine getting your identity from somebody who doesn't even know themselves. My question is, how are they going to teach you about yourself? Unfortunately, that is the person you came to. That's the father you came to. And that's the mother you came to. And so we forget that there is that child, that is still yearning for love, because as adults, we adult from two different places. I've said this before, right? And I'm going to keep saying it because I need you to understand it. We adult from two different places. We adult from the adult that we are today in this adult body, but we also adult from the child that we never were able to be. So it's the wounded child, the broken child, the attached, the child that had to choose coping mechanisms to live, the child that had to adapt, the child that had to adopt certain things, right? Because we didn't have a choice. Okay? Now, this adult, unfortunately, was formed between the ages of 0 and 8, 90 to 95%, Bruce Lipton says. So, If that means that I was formed predominantly, my belief system, my ideologies, my general identity was formed between the ages of 0 and 8, could it be that my old self is still running on that old programming? I like to use programming because really that's what it is, right? Could it mean that? Right? So as adults now, I'm still hoping that, oh, my father can eventually see me. My father can eventually, even in his transitioning, my father, that child is still yearning for that father to finally acknowledge me. But he's not even here to do that. Now the question is, can my adult self do that to my child self? The answer is yes. But I didn't know this also up until a few years ago. So I was still waiting for my father to acknowledge me, to tell me, I'm proud of you, to say, to acknowledge the work that I'd been doing, especially because now I'm in the industry that you are in. So I want you to see my work. I want you to appreciate, I want you to be proud of. And my father did not even see himself. So how could he see me? That's the question. So the ache we rarely name is this. And nearly 1 in 4 children in the US live in a home without their biological father present. And many grow up with a father who is present but emotionally absent. And it's not just in the US, it's all over the world. I mean, in some countries, you find some fathers are more present because they're intentionally being present. Yes. So what's happening? You're grown, you're chosen by good men, but you're still bracing for you to be left, which means you are still waiting for them to leave you. So you've built a life. Some man has chosen, maybe you're even married, pursued by a good man. Some quiet parts of you, however, still keeps one hand on the door, bracing for the moment he stops looking, stops choosing, and stops staying. Because your father's love was the blueprint of what love felt like and what love could feel like. And even that, my question always is, did they really teach us love? They taught us trade. So if you do this, I'll do that for you. That's why it's easy for people to get up and walk away and never look back, because they don't feel like they owe you something. And most times people don't. Yeah. And so the insecurity in you will sabotage any great thing happening in you, not because you are not great, but because you do not know that you are. And you still think you need someone else to say to you for you to believe it. And this is not just for women, by the way. I had a chat with a young man yesterday. He's having the same challenge. I want her to need me. I want her to tell me she loves me. Otherwise, what's the point of telling her that I love her? I want to feel like I am useful in her life. I want to be the man like the way my same thing. And then, of course, there's the side of the woman as well, who is saying, I keep performing. I keep performing because I'm hoping that maybe if I perform a little bit more, he will stay with me. Maybe. And you're thinking it's about that man. It's never about that man. And even if he brought you all the goodness, you will chase him away. Why? Because you don't know what it feels like. At a point, you start to second guess everything he does. If he tells you you're beautiful, you say, me? You mean? You even actually think that he's lying. If he says, oh, that jeans looks nice on you, you're thinking, is he really? You can't accept the truth. You can't accept the truth. And why? Is because your father never saw you. And this might not be everybody. It's not 100% of the people on earth, right? Because I've met some people who their fathers were very intentional about being there for their children. Some of them had to be single fathers, of course. So they had, well, their choice was, I was going to say they had no choice, but you always have a choice. Their choice was to step into that place to be both father and mother. So they brought their masculine and their feminine. and they guided their children in such a loving way. But the children still had one or two deficiencies at the end of the day, because I mean, one person can't give everything. That's why God said two. When I was a lot younger, my father was very emotionally distant. I can't really tell you, I can't tell you that I have any memories with my dad um, growing up. One that I remember so well was when I went to the National Theatre, a theatre in Nigeria, and my father was performing on stage, and I was so excited and so proud of him. I don't know whether that made an impression on me. I'm not sure, but I was so proud of him. That's almost the only memory I have of my father growing up, aside all the other times when I was naughty and he would beat me and he would threaten me, and because that's all he knew how to do. He didn't know what to do with me. And of course, I'm not sure he was responsible enough to go out and figure it out and get taught on what to do, right? But then again, was his father also there for him? Maybe not. And so he really couldn't give me the same love. However, it was still his responsibility, and that's why I use the word irresponsible. It's your responsibility as a parent to make sure that you parent your child. It's your responsibility. And if you don't, then you were an irresponsible parent. That's it, period. Period. Now, I started to look for love in all the wrong places because, in fact, initially, my story changed because the first story that I told myself was I could never find love and I could never give love because nobody's there to give me love. So I used to tell men that would come into my life that I'm not a relationship person. I don't do relationships. I used to literally tell them that because I don't have the love to give. I don't have what you need me to give to you to make you want. That was my story. And the first man that I dated, or the first man that I really, really liked, um, said to me, I'm not going to go around kissing all my friends if friendship is all you want. And I said to him, I don't have what you are looking for. He said, what do you have to give in this relationship? I said 30%. He said, okay, I'll take the 30 and I'll add the 70. And to a very large extent, he has a huge, huge space in my heart. Why? Because I felt like he helped me to uncover a part of me that I didn't know that I had. I didn't know. And so why did that happen? Because I didn't feel any love from my father. I didn't feel he loved me. And so I used to chase people away. Mine was to chase people away. Don't come too close because, hey, I don't want you to abandon me just like my dad. And if I don't commit to you, then I don't expect anything from you. So today we're going to be talking about the science of why. So for some people, it's chasing your father. You're still looking for your father in different men. And I did that for a bit. In fact, I personally think that I married an emotionally available man, an emotionally unavailable man, just like my father, because it's so beautiful. My father, if you put my father and my husband in separate rooms and ask them the same question, they'll probably give you the same answers. That's how alike they were, or they are, right? Because I'm still looking for that relationship in another man to heal the relationship that I never had with my father. I didn't know that when I was choosing him, but I know that now. Your father was your first answer to, am I worth staying for? That's why you're still looking for him. Attachment research shows fathers play a distinct role from mothers in shaping a child's template of love. See why you must have two parents or a man and a woman in your life? Yeah. Now, the man in your life particularly shows you confidence, self-worth. Your father in your life connects to your self-worth as a woman, as a man. I promise you, it's your identity. Your father in your life shows you, it's like it because you have your father's name, isn't it? It's sameness. It's one with, right? It's one with, it's sameness. So you get your self-worth, your identity, your confidence from your father. And then you also get what to expect from those who claim to love you for externally from how your father loved you. So a father's consistent presence teaches a nervous system I am worth staying for. His absence or criticism or unpredictability can teach the opposite. And I've had clients, female clients, male clients, who have had the father wound, and their essence, they felt like they were not worth it. In fact, this is the exact word: I don't feel like I'm worthy. And this is not one, this is all of the people that I've worked with that had the father wound. It was all based on worth. So you didn't choose that lesson. You were a child. It was the only available lesson that you could learn at the time. So if your father was inconsistent, your body may now read consistency as boring and inconsistency as chemistry, because inconsistency means I need to keep doing something. It's like the adrenaline is, a small dopamine here, small, and so when he sends you a message, you're excited, then he ghosts you for 1 week. Then you're thinking, no, I need to send him food. And all of that is making your nervous system, it's familiar to your nervous system because your father, that's how you had to live with him. And that is not the way it is meant to be. That's why we look at some people and say that guy is too boring because he's unfamiliar to you. He's steady. You don't understand steady. You understand chaos. And so that's the first part of it. The second part of it is that you're chasing a moving target that never ends in rest. When a child's early bid for approval goes unanswered, the nervous system doesn't conclude, stop trying. It concludes, try even harder. So you're on this target, you are chasing this target that you never hit. Why? Because you feel the need to keep trying harder. And that's why so many high achieving women can trace their relentless drive back to one unimpressed man, choosing an approval that was never actually about performance in the first place. It's always back to the father. Last week we talked about mother wound. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. This week we're talking about the father wound. No achievement can retroactively secure a childhood that already happened. That relief has to come from somewhere else. That relief had to come from my understanding that my father I can't, even if I keep trying to chase and be better and do and I used to seek my husband's approval. In fact, my essence was tied to my husband's approval. Whatever he thought about me was what I thought about myself. And whatever he didn't think about me was what I didn't think about myself. I remember one day he said to me, "You start things that you never finish." I smiled. I said, "Well, that's your belief." Because at that time I started to cut off the power that I gave into him, all my father. I started to heal and work on my belief system so much that I stopped externalizing it. It never was up to anyone again how I felt about myself. Now, the question that is worth asking is, am I doing this because I want it, or because some part of me is still hoping he'll finally notice me? The honest answer will change everything about how it feels for you. I had to ask myself this question. Whenever I want to do anything, I ask myself, is this because I really want to do it? Or I even muscle test. I ask myself, do you want to do this, really? And my body will say yes. And I say, let's go, full bodied. And if my body says no, then I'm not going anywhere. And it's okay. You can be upset. You will get over it at some point, but I will not go beyond what my heart, because I'm also a manager. I'm a manifesting generator, if you know about human design. And so what lights me up is that inner gut, yes, a full-bodied yes. And if it's no joy, then I'm not doing it, because I understand that frustration will be my lot, and I refuse to be frustrated, period. The Bible also says, when my father and mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up, which means scripture doesn't pretend every father shows up, neither mother. It makes room for the exact grief and promises you will never be there standing alone. Isn't God beautiful? Right? So we're going to share 4 truths for healing your father wound today. And none of these require you to excuse what happened or stop wanting more. No, it's just to say these are, if you look back, you can sit down and say, I get it now. I get it now. I get why I have I see how I have a father wound. Some of these things can't be explained in a way for you to understand until you sit down and hear it in different ways. That's why my topics, I have different topics touching it from different points so that you can learn it from different points and then say, I get it now. This particular point is what I connect with. All the other ones I didn't connect with, but this particular point I connect with. The first truth is you're not chasing men, you're chasing him, and that's your father. So the emotionally distant boyfriend, the one who runs hot then cold, the one you can't quite win over no matter how much you give. Underneath the specific man, because it might seem like you're choosing the same man, right? However, underneath that man is so often the same original assignment. Finally be enough for him. Every new attempt is often quietly another attempt at the first one. I'll share a story of a client with you. This woman particularly kept falling for brilliant, emotionally unavailable men who needed saving. In reflection, she traced it back to her father, a talented man too consumed by his own struggles to be present. So she wasn't choosing badly. She was still trying to be the one who finally reaches her father. And so the shift came when I said, ask this question every time you meet somebody that you think this is the one and you feel that familiarity, because that's what it is. It's not butterflies, it's familiarity. That's why we think, oh, it's butterflies, so he is familiar. That's why, or she is familiar. Ask this question: am I drawn to him or to the chance to finally win a love I never got? Naming it interrupts the reflex. We did deep dive sessions on this together. I was able to show her that the love that she was looking for was not the men that she was choosing. It was the man that she hadn't seen that she was chasing after. And so you are choosing this man until you learn the lessons, you will keep choosing the same man. You will keep choosing high achieving men who are go-getters, because my father was like that. He had ambition, he was driven, he was hardworking, but that's it. He will provide. Oh yes. I mean, we had a roof over. There was never a time where they came and said to us, you need to leave the house because your rent has not been paid. That was covered. They never had to send me out of school or us out of school. So he covered all the basics that he felt he needed to cover. Unfortunately, the real basic, which was my emotional needs, he couldn't cover them. And so at some point, I started to look for men who could, be there for me and fill me up, because initially I was avoidant, then I became anxious. I swapped and became an anxious attachment person. That's how my coping mechanisms changed. And that's how it changes for us. And so now I will attach myself for men who were unavailable to me. But I will keep struggling, thinking that maybe if I just do this, maybe if I may, and eventually they will leave me. Right? Until I learned that, it's my picker. And it's my picker because that's the only picker I have. Yes, that's the first truth. Second truth, his absence was never a verdict on your worth. I want you to understand that today. It seems like it because he was your first understanding of masculine love, right? Or masculine presence, because a lot of our fathers didn't know even what love meant, right? But I want you to know that today, it has nothing to do with your worth unless you keep allowing it. A child has no framework for understanding an adult's limitations. So when a father leaves, or withholds, or disappoints, a child's mind fills the gap with the only explanation it can reach. And that explanation is, it must be me. The truth is, this conclusion was never accurate. I've had clients who I've worked with, and they said, my father left, my parents separated, and I felt like it was me that caused it. I had somebody say to me, my father's business went, my father wasn't able to do the business that he was doing after he had me. That means, and then things didn't go well for us again, and it was my fault. Meanwhile, she was only a baby and it wasn't her that made the decision, it was him. But she took it upon herself. She's in her 40s now and she's doing the exact same thing with that pressure. And I have so many examples, so many examples. Now, that conclusion was not accurate. It was needed at the time because that was the only conclusion you could make. But it is not true. It is not true. It was simply the only one available to a young child, too young to know any better. His capacity, his wounds, his choices, none of it was ever a measurement of your worth. That's why a lot of us always say, oh, I don't feel worthy. My sense of worth is low. Yes, because the person that was meant to teach it to you was not available. Wasn't available. Wasn't available. Your value was assigned by your father before your earthly father had the chance to confirm or deny it. Which then means that if you go back to who really created you and you go back to the image of that person and you decide that this is going to be my own image, because the truth is you are the word made flesh. And God said, and so it is. He said, let us make man and male and female in our image. And then you came, and then I came. So I, Adiola, am the word made flesh. What about you? What do you think? Right? Where do you get your essence from? If you think that it's down to your father who didn't even know who he was, then you're going to be on short the word has escaped me. Your source is very limiting. But if you go back to the one who created the one who birthed you, then your essence is and your source is from whose you are, not who your father, your earthly father says you are. The third truth is you can grieve the father you needed and still honor any good he gave. Now, some people don't know that you can have both of this. You can still grieve and still honor the good that he gave, because not everything was bad. No, nobody is so bad that there's no good in it. So not everything was bad, which then means that yes, your father could have given you some things, but he also did give you something. So not everything is bad, right? Is this and that. Some fathers were absolutely absent. Some were present but limited, doing their best with the toolkit shaped by their own unhealed father wound. Both truths can be held at once. Yes. Grief for what didn't happen, and honesty about whatever good, however small, did can coexist. Yes. Healing doesn't require erasing him from your story or pretending the story was fine. I tell my clients when they say, oh no, I forgive my father, because I say to them, yes, please forgive him. But you first need to accept that he was an irresponsible father, because it was his responsibility to be there for you, and he didn't. He didn't. Every other thing is irrelevant. However, I understand that he didn't because he chose not to. That's it. Because if you choose to, you get knowledge and you do better. But if you choose not to, that's also still on you. But I can also still see some things. Like I said, my father, they never chased us out of the house. We always had a roof over our head. We always were able to go to school. We could go on a few holidays. We could eat a lot of the things that we wanted. We didn't starve. We had cars. We had the basics, general, and that was it. He never erred in that. Never did. Never. He took responsibility for that, and I'm grateful for it. However, the emotional aspect of me that needed building up, he didn't touch. And for that, I say thank you for this, but I also am not thanking you for this. And both of them can coexist, and I still love you. Right? Both and, not either or. I'm allowed to grieve what he couldn't give me and still be grateful for whatever he did give, because both can be true in the same breath. So, not everything is bad. No, 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 no. Not everything is bad. In fact, there's nothing that is so bad on earth that there isn't a good. Nothing. So every time we're thinking, oh, but you never, there's some things that they do that are good, right? They are. Now I can say certain things to my husband and believe that he will do something about it without having to attach my worth to what he thinks of me, because nobody has that permission anymore. I have that permission now. I've reparented that child. My child is good. But I can still say, if my father was here, and I have said it to him, that Daddy, you could have done better. You could have done better. You could have been there. You could have taken your time to know me as a human being. You could have. You could have taken time out of it, because you had time. You would go to the club in the evening. My father would go to the club every evening and hang out with his boys. He could have spent 10 minutes of that with me and all my other siblings. Maybe he would have built something with us, right? Which is different. So now I don't have to go around looking for him in all the men that I need, because I'm solid now. But when I wasn't, oh my goodness. And a lot of people are still in this place. The fourth truth: a perfect father has been available to you all along. Every human father, even the best ones, is limited by their own upbringing, their own capacity, their own unhealed places. Everybody has at least one wound, one. And that wound will come from the interpretation of something that happened, because that's all it is. So no earthly father was ever built to fully answer the ache for a perfect one. And who's the perfect one? Yes, scripture offers something different. A father who does not run out of patience, does not withhold love conditionally, and is never too distracted to notice you. Psalm 103 says, like as a father pitieth his children, so the Lord pitieth them that fear him. But I don't even focus on the fear as much. The Lord loves those who love him. That's what I'm going to focus on. And it's not a consolation prize. It's an actual available relationship, one that can begin to feel what the earthly one couldn't. And I can't say this enough. The only relationship you are truly looking for is that relationship with the divine one. I promise you. I mean, you get your fullness from the fullness of the divine one. And I'm not saying the divine one is only masculine. The divine one is also feminine. But I'm talking about the masculine today. Yes, the divine one. Something that is bigger than you. Something that is bigger than even the biggest thing you think exists. And you're just able to connect with that, which then expands you as a person and expands you as a human being, as a soul, as a spirit, that you have all of these attributes. And that one will never lie to you. That one is always, always ever present, always willing to hear from you, always willing to listen, always, always. There's never a time that is not there. It says, I will be a father unto you. I will be a father unto you. It's not a metaphor, it's an offer. The seat at the table you kept saving for him has always had room for you at the original father's table. Right. And yes, I call him Father, Mother, God, to be honest. I call God Father, Mother, God, because there's male and female in him, right? So today we're talking about Father God. Last week we talked about Mother God. Yes? And so here's the turning point for us today. And this is where we go from performing to belonging. Now you have seen why you found yourself performing, why you found yourself choosing the same kind of man, why you find yourself in the same relationships, why you find yourself even in the same working relationships, because what you do in one relationship is what you do in all relationships. So even at work, you're the one that is constantly active. Why? Because you keep the you. No, 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 no. Let's drop all of that and let's now come home to ourselves and then deal from there. You are allowed to stop auditioning for a love that was never yours to earn in the first place. It was yours always, always. So here's my checklist. And these are signs that you're still performing for your father's approval that you never got. You chase achievement partly hoping someone specific will finally notice. So you're always chasing achievements, always going for the next. You hear, I remember one woman saying to me, she's the MD of a bank at the moment. She said she kept on hoping for her father because her father too was high up, and she said she wanted to prove to her father that she too could do it. And that's why she kept on going for more achievements until she became the MD of a bank. And she still has not received that achievement because she's still looking for more. Why? It's never enough. Two, you're drawn to emotionally distant or inconsistent men, and yet you call it butterflies or chemistry. But they're not there. They're telling you they're busy. And you keep thinking, okay, maybe if I go to his office to go and see him, maybe if I do the calling, maybe if I cook him more food, maybe if I look for more. And the more you're chasing him, the more he's running. But that chase is familiar because you did that all your life. The third sign is that you brace for people to leave, even when they have given you no reason to live. They haven't given you any reason, but you're waiting. In fact, sometimes you create scenarios for them to leave. You go that far sometimes. You create the scenarios. The fourth sign is that you overfunction in relationships, believing your effort must offset your worth. Oh, tell me, I know this too well, too well. The things that I would do that on a normal day, I'll say to myself, what are you doing? I will do it, thinking that maybe this time, he will finally see me. You scan older men or authority figures for approval without fully knowing why. I want you to screenshot this and come back to it because recognition is where healing starts. You scan older men or authority figures for approval. Oh, I have a friend and sometimes he thinks that whatever advice he gives me, I must take. And I say to him, no, I mustn't. I hear your advice, but I don't agree with it. That's your opinion, not mine. And I'm not sure that he likes it much because he wants to feel like, I can tell you something and you take it. And yes, there are times he said certain things and I'm like, okay, yes, I think I think my body agrees with it. So yes, let's go with it. But there are times he says, I don't think you should do this way. And I'm like, that's okay. I'm still going to do it that way because that's what I choose to do. And it's okay if I make a mistake. It's okay. But I'm going to go that route. But before, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I could never do that because I would want him to say, oh, you're doing a great job. In fact, I attracted this kind of men. And then when I looked to them for love, they didn't have it to give to me. So I promised you a tool that you can use because telling you what it is, telling you why it is without telling you what to do and how to start to do it, it's just me setting you up for more confusion. And I would rather not do that. I would rather bring clarity to your already confused state. What to do the moment you catch yourself performing. And I want you to use this the next time you notice yourself chasing a man's attention or a mentor's approval, or you working harder than the moment calls for. You just want to be seen. You just want people. You're just all over the place, hoping that finally he will pat you on the back and say, "Well done." I used to like it with my bosses then, and they will acknowledge my yes. So the first thing that you need to do is notice it. Until you become aware of it, you can't do anything about it. So notice it. This urgency isn't fully about him. Some of it is old because as you name it, it creates space. Notice it. Okay, I see myself saying yes more than I should be. I see myself offering more than my normal self will. Okay, okay. So I'm noticing it now. Yes. I had a client that I spoke with yesterday, and he was asking me, is he really doing better? I said, for the fact that you have vocabulary and you can call me and use different words and catch and notice it as it's happening, what do you think? Could you have noticed this 2 months ago? He said, no. I said, therein lies your answer. I said, growth is intangible, but you can measure it. You can measure it as you go along, because all you need to do is ask yourself, what did I think yesterday? And what do I think today? And if what I think today is different from what I thought yesterday, then growth has happened. The question sometimes, however, is where have you grown to? You just need to be sure that you're growing in the right direction and not growing in the opposite direction. But notice it, measure it. Think about it. Oh, there was a time where I used to think I needed to have so much money to feel worthy. Now, I'm worthy. And that worthiness will bring all the money that I need to meet me where I am. And I always have more than enough, because the way God created, He created everything in abundance. And so I live in that abundance. And if you remove abundance from abundance, what is left? Abundance. Yes, you got it right. If you remove a bucket of water from a sea, what's left? There you go. And that's what I play in right now. So notice it. And then speak this sentence: I don't have to win this. I'm already worth staying for. Say it loud if you can. I said to my client yesterday, whenever you find yourself saying, maybe I'm not worth it after all, stop yourself and say, I am worth it. She's just not the one for me. And I have the capacity to choose the right person who will stay with me, because I am phenomenal. That's what I told him to say yesterday. So I'm sharing that sentence with you. They can go. That's okay. People can come and go. I'm a river. People will come and go. People will. I'm the sea. I'm an ocean. People will come and go. Things will come. Things will go. But I get to stay, and I get to flow in such beautiful ways. And if he says I'm not the one for him, he's correct. I'm not. Right? Because the one for me exists, and he's looking for me as I'm looking for him. We're connecting right now. I tell you, those are the things that I say. Immediately, I cancel it and replace it with what I desire. And 3, choose the next move from calm. Whatever you decide next, let it come from your choice, not from your old chase. And so I had this friend, let me share this with you. I had this guy that I met, and we hit it off so well, and this is not hit it off romantically, but just hit it off so well. We had great conversations. We could talk about all kinds of things, that kind of guy, and I attract a lot of great guys, by the way. Great guys. And so we had such, we sat down, we would talk, we would go out, have lunch. I didn't think of anything emotional in connected to intimacy with him. I was just enjoying our friendship and conversations. And so he said to me that one thing I said to him though, I said, if you spend time with me, you will love me. And it's something I tell everybody. If you spend time with me, not just men, even women, right? If you spend time with me, you will love me because that's how I am. That's the kind of person that I am. So I scare people because they don't understand the way I love. They think that there's something tied to it, but there's nothing. But I understand it because love wasn't taught us. I also had to learn love, and I'm still learning the way God loves. Yes. And so he said to me that he's afraid that he might want more. And I totally got it because I couldn't give more, right? I was happy with what we had, and I wasn't able to give more in the way that he wanted it. And so he will blow hot, he will blow cold. So today he'll talk for. So after one day, I said to him, I said, I don't do hot and cold. I'm consistent. I don't do hot and cold, and I don't chase after that in any way. I'm consistent, and I want consistent people around me. So I get it. You are playing hot and cold because that's how you think. Maybe you would chase me away. I'm not. I. You can't chase me away. I'm consistent and I'm steady. So here's what's gonna happen. It's okay. We don't have to be friends anymore. We don't have to touch base the way we used to. I don't have to call you. If you're uncomfortable with it in your body, that's okay. I'm okay letting this go because I'm okay leaving things alone and I'm not attached to anything anymore. Let me add that. I used to be very attached. I used to cling and hold on to people for their dear lives. You can't leave me. You can't go. You know that thing we used to do. Don't leave me. Yes, I was the epitome of don't leave me. Well, now it's okay. You can go. I'm good. If you come back, I'm good. But then I will decide how we now relate, because I only choose consistency. And consistency doesn't mean you call me every day. Consistency doesn't mean you even call me every month. Consistency doesn't even mean you call me every year. But consistency within myself that I know that if I call you, you will show up for me. For me, that's consistency. And I have such great friendships like that, such great ones with people that I know if I pick up my phone and say, I need you, they'll tell me, come now, let's talk. I have such great friendships like that. This is regardless of whether I'm in a marriage or not. So I spoke to him from that place of calm that it's okay. It's okay. I respect how you feel. I'm solid always in the way I feel. I'm solid with my decisions. I'm solid with how I choose to represent myself. And I'm consistent. I'm a solid, I'm one of the most solid people you will ever meet in your life. Always. I will always be there. I might not be interfaced with you all the time, but you can guarantee that if you call me, I'll show up. And that's why I have such friendships. And so maybe sometimes you want to look at it and say, look, maybe I just want to be honest with myself and then honest with the other person and say, I can't do this. What I really want is this. And if you're unable to do it, I get it. I release you. What about that? What if that happened? What if you were able to really do that? And you are able. You are able. I've shared my story already. Now, here's what happens. Here's what being securely loved actually feels like. What you've learned was chasing distant or inconsistent men, achievement as a bid for someone's attention, bracing to be left even in a safe relationship, worth measured by his response. But what I will build with you if you work with me, because I can teach you what I learned, is choosing steady, available love. It might not look the same way as before. You might not have these constant jitters in your stomach or butterflies, but consistency is it will then become familiar to you. I have consistent love. Achievement, you start to build achievement as an expression of who you already are, not who you need to be to receive somebody's love. It becomes something you choose to do and knowing that your worth has nothing to do with what you achieve. If your worth is tied to your achievement, then there's a problem. You've got to check it out. If you're never satisfied with the things you achieve, and you're still thinking, what next, what next, what next, even if we look for what's next, because spirit is for fuller expansion and expression, but if you cannot sit in it and celebrate it and enjoy it and love yourself in it, and then there's a problem. If all you're just looking for, okay, I've done that, next, then there's a problem. Then you trust safety when it's actually present. When the man says, I'm here for you, you believe it. When the man says, I'm loyal to you, you believe it. You believe it. Until there's a reason not to, and there's a physical evidence. Not that it was a mental you thinking about. No, physical evidence. Then you have a reason to ask questions. What you're going to be building is your worth exists whether he notices it or not, or she, by the way, once again. Because it's not just about, everybody has got a father wound. Every human being, a man or woman is what I mean. Some people got better from their fathers. Some didn't even know their fathers. Their fathers didn't even exist. They didn't exist. And so they were angry. So you see angry men, angry women. Why? They're living out their inner belief that I'm not worth it. I'm not worth it, sorry, and I'm not worthy. That's what I was trying to say. I'm both not worth it, and then I'm not worthy. And so why do I need, so it's anger rather than understand. I met a guy who was consistent, angry at the world. Why? Because his father never saw him. And so he's found himself having to prove every time he has to, then, people tell him, so anger for a lot of men, one of the only emotions they learned how to really use or verbalize was anger. And then, of course, it becomes physical. Yeah. And so tie it back, just go back and see that it has to do with your father and your father's inability to show you that you are worthy. I've met accomplished men and women who are still waiting for their father's love till today. So don't do it on your own. You can watch 100 videos like this and still find yourself 6 months from now, 1 year from now, drawn to the same distant man performing for the same silence. Not because you're not understanding what I'm saying, but because understanding a wound and healing a wound are two different processes. I've met people who have the vocabulary. I know that I am, okay, do something about it. They don't know how to. So don't do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. Until today, I still have people that I work with, that I pay to learn about myself, to learn about my design, to learn about all the things happening around me that I couldn't fully put a word to. I will work as a coach. I help people build the practical daily habits. I work with you as a mentor. I walk ahead of you, having done this work myself. Anything I ask you to do, I've done it at least 10 times over. So I'm a living example of anything I teach you. You can guarantee that. And you'll see it as I express it, because I will share my own experiences with you. And you will know. I will show you if you work with me and you come close. So you're never second guessing yourself. You're never thinking, am I not? You have somebody to bounce it off, who's me. And then also as a therapist, I hold the clinical trauma-informed space where the deepest layers of this wound can actually be processed and released, not just understood. So I'm 3 in 1. I mean, isn't that great? Isn't that just phenomenal? Like, I'm so proud of myself that I can tell you that I can be your coach, your mentor, and your therapist, and you have all of this in me. Book a one-on-one session with me. You've got to do that so that I can teach you how to, first of all, notice the wounds that you carry. And then not stop. We won't stop at just noticing it. We will name them for what it is, and we will reframe them and replace the old programming with a new reframing. And then your vocabulary, your life becomes different, because now you are choosing from the place that serves you rather than the place that doesn't. You cannot do it alone, I promise you. Community is what's going to help you. And I'm your community. I'm three already in one. You need me to help you pass through, to understand this in this phase. Not that you, I don't need you, but you need me, right? So you don't, yeah, it's not, this is not I'm not selling to you that you want, no, but you need me because I can take you through all the steps, teach you what I went through, healing my mother wound, my father wound, my childhood wounds, reparenting myself, creating a new story and living the life that I now live. The truth, you were never too much, never. You simply had too little to give, and that wasn't your fault. You didn't have more, right? But if you listen to 2 Corinthians 6 that says, I will be a father unto you, then God is also stretching out his hands. You know, the father part of God is stretching out his hands to you today, just as I am stretching out my hands, because my father and I are one. Yes. So we're stretching out our hands to you today. So take these hands and hold on to it. I can't do it if you choose not to, but I can help you if you choose to. These videos are here to just shed light, teach you awareness. But to go deeper, you've got to now come into the community so that you can get the extra support that you need. So I ask you today that you go gently and you stop auditioning. You were always, always, always already chosen. Yes, yes? Very good. So I want to thank you for the time that you've spent today listening to me and spent the last 1 hour listening to me. I hope that this video really helps you and it opens your eyes to give you the awareness that you need, because that's why I call therapy cash: clarity, awareness, strategy, and then healing. That's the process it goes into. You get clear, then you're like, ooh, you're aware. Yes. And guess what? You get healed. Have a wonderful weekend ahead, and I hope that you have a wonderful time. See you again next week, where we're going to talk about the money wound next week. Yes, because we all have a money story. God bless and stay well. My name is Adiola. Enjoy your wonderful day.